This is an urgent message. Please do not file your tax return yet. If you have kids, so I'm talking about your qualifying dependents, wait until at least January 29th or until the politicians get this sorted out. Okay, so here's what's going on. The politicians are trying to make changes to tax year 2023, so this is retroactive. If you file now, before the changes, you may leave hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars on the table. And then you're gonna have to waste your time and money to file an amendment to fix it. Okay, so to be clear, to be absolutely clear, because I don't wanna waste anyone's time, this bigger tax refund is not applicable to all people. For this issue, there are three groups of people, so this is the best way that I can explain it. So group number one is, this is the group that has the people without children. People without children are qualifying dependents. You get nothing. The politicians are not including you in this conversation. This has nothing to do with you. The politicians are trying to give more money to people with kids. That's the truth. Group number two is that you have children and you will qualify this, like for a sure thing. And group number three is that you have children and you may or may not qualify. Okay, so let me break this down for you. I'm gonna give you 6 scenarios. If you're married with 1 kid or qualifying dependents, and you make approximately $45,000 combined or under, do not file your tax return yet. If you're married with 2 kids and you make a combined $63,000 or less, do not file your tax return yet. If you're married with 3 kids and you make a combined $79,000 or less, do not file yet. If you're not married with 1 kid or qualifying dependents and you make approximately $38,000 or less, do not file your tax return yet. If you're not married with 2 kids, if you make $55,000 or less, do not file yet. If you're not married with 3 kids, if you make $71,000 or less, do not file yet. If you fall into one of these categories, it makes absolutely no sense for you to file your tax return before January 29th. That's because the IRS starts accepting tax returns on January 29th. So if you file your tax return right now and the politicians make the change, then you're not going to get this extra money. And what's the point of you sending in your tax return right now if the IRS is not even accepting tax returns yet? It's just going to go into the queue and be in the pending status. Okay, so anyways, that was group 2. So those are the parents that will be affected for sure if this bill passes. Group number 3. Okay, so these are the parents that are over those income amounts, right? In the current version of this bill, you will not see any additional money. You're not gonna get any extra money. But the bill, I'll tell you this, it's subject to change. This is not concrete yet, it's not set in stone. And if they modify it, then these income thresholds that I just said, they might change a little bit. But again, if you submit your tax return before the 29th, then you're not gonna get any benefit because you're just gonna be queued up. And it's not like you're queuing up in line for a Black Friday doorbuster. That's not how it works. Whether you submit it now or the 28th or 29th, it's gonna be the same thing. So for this group of people, it's not gonna hurt you if you choose to wait. And it might save you a lot of hassle if you do. Now, I wanna give you a status update of what the heck is going on. And I'm gonna explain to you, group 2 and group 3, what's going on with the parents and how I got those numbers. Okay, so the politicians are working on a bill, and the leaders of the Democrats and the leaders of the Republicans in Congress have actually come to an agreement. Corporate tax breaks in exchange for an expansion of the child tax credit. So that's ultimately what's going on. They're making this retroactive for tax year 2023. That means that the corporations will get their tax breaks for last year, and certain parents will get bigger tax breaks, bigger tax refunds for last year. The deal is valued at $78 billion. Half of that money will be allocated for the child tax credits and the rest for the corporations and a few other things. So corporations will get the full upfront tax deduction for research and development and bigger tax deductions for interest expenses and the purchase of equipment. The child tax credit would be expanded for parents in those income ranges.